What an incredible start that was for Trace Esports. I'm now joined by their head coach, Destroyer, and Echo, who's going to help with some translations. Now, there were some very important moments in that game, and one of the moments I wanted to talk to you about was round 16 when you called a timeout, and after that timeout, you guys managed to recover and win a few, again, very important rounds. So what did you say to your boys during that timeout?
那其实在这场比赛当中有非常多重要的时刻嘛，有一个非常重要的就是16回合，你当时的那个技术暂停，帮助你们追回了很多分。当时你是说了什么呢？
我当时和他们说的是，让他们回想一下我赛前跟他们做的一些布置和他们有一些习惯性的动作，然后其次就是我告诉他们手上道具要捏死一点，而且我们的防守策略是没有问题的，只需要多冷静就可以了。
At the time, I just told them like, be calm down and think about it, the preparation before today's matchup. And you know, I think the tactics in our defense side is super nice and there is no mistakes on our tactics. So just remember a little bit and take more time on your utilities.
Well, thank you very much, Echo. Thank you very much, Coach Destroyer. Best of luck on map 2.
Welcome back, everyone. And look, I'm just gonna. It's happening! It's happening! What's happening right now? Oh my word! Trace Esports pulls off the win on Bind against Leviathan, and you might be thinking to yourself, "Oh man, it's a fluke," you know. Oh, you know, maybe they were caught off guard. No. That was not the case here. This is a perfect description of this Achilles. Why don't you run through why this worked out so well?
I mean, one of the things that we were talking about coming into the series was wanting to see really good proactive reads coming out from the side of Trace, and they were able to put that on display. This last round of that opening half where they're on that attack, and they just immediately know that there's going to be this pressure coming out in through short. Kai is able to collect 2. They once again get that net lockdown onto a player in Lamps. Fung is able to just jump forward, get that punish. They read the wraparound here from Calm, and it's just bing, bang, boom, one by one, picking these players apart.
Yeah, and I'm really impressed overall with the way that they approach these games. I really like the question that Sue asked during that interview because I think it's really important for the way that they come out of these timeouts with the great mentality and the way that they approach this map. But I think the most important thing for me here is that their post plants continue to be an absolute nightmare on this map. They are absolutely disgusting. It is so hard. Like, you could see early on, LEV had ideas to try to stop it. They were posting themselves in angles to cut off the executes, to knock players down as they were forced to dry peek, to avoid some of that early utility. But then there were adjustments made right after that timeout. 3 in a row for LEV, timeout, boom, they start stringing rounds together. And once they get that plant down, it is such a nightmare because of all that utility that the Deadlock has in particular. That wall is so stupid good on this map.
Yeah, I mean, Trace talked about their bread and butter being their teamwork, their tactics, how they play together. But the thing is, the individuals also had moments as well. That takes us to our Verizon high-speed moment. We got to give some love to Hebei taking out his icon there, his idol in Osmos here in round 9 Achilles. And I mean, this has to feel good for him.
Oh no, it really does. It's a monstrous clutch. It really sets the tone for the remainder of the map. And like I said, yeah, you might have to kill your heroes here today. And Hebei did just that to be able to get this big clutch. That's going to be you know, a huge inspiration for the rest of the players. You can see right there the pop-off coming through, just bigging this guy up. I mean, Hebei just a couple days ago was on that stage getting his first ever international win, having a nice, wholesome cry about it, and now he's here potentially looking to take down his idol.
One map away from defeating Leviathan. I did not think that that would ever be a possibility. In fact, I don't think the coach of Leviathan thought that either. Let's actually go ahead and hear from Itopata as we get ready for map 2.
I'm now standing by with Coach Itopata ahead of map 2. Now, this is the first time you faced Trace Esports on stage here. Is there anything that they did you felt like maybe caught you off guard, surprised you, that you guys can maybe anticipate a little bit better for Sunset?
I don't really think they surprised us. I think they played exactly how we were expected them. The thing is, they played better as a team than us, and that was the main issue we had. So going into Sunset and then Ascent, we need to fix this in order to win.
Thank you very much for joining me, and good luck on map 2.
I just love this, you know, whole thing about everyone always likes to harp on the individuals and how they shine, but even Itopata got to give the flowers there to Trace, saying they just played better as a team. Plain and simple. They lock up the win, but now, Clinton, we set our sights onto Sunset here. This is a great map for Leviathan. If you're a Lev fan, you should be feeling pretty good right now, but keep it a $150, man. Like, they saw what happened in their last one. Trace, they could have fixed those errors.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, again, it's some little things that Trace just needs to do. A little bit more proactivity, getting info on the map and making better reads. Overall, will potentially lead to results like we just saw in Vine. Now, Leviathan, really, really good on this map throughout Stage 2 in Americas. Almost went undefeated, lost a crew, I think, at the end, but they didn't look great at it at Shanghai against Foot. It was a real stomp for Foot on that map. So it's interesting for me to think about, is this going to be Leviathan kind of coming back, kind of flipping the script from their last international appearance on Sunset? Are they going to be able to really showcase that, you know, they're not having any problems here. They're going to come through. They're going to be able to bounce back, and they're going to be that team that seems to be on that upward trajectory throughout this year, just like DRX, just like EG last year, right? These teams that peak at the right times.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a preview there of what we should be seeing from the agent select in a moment. That'll be popping up here too, but we are going to be getting Aspas on that Neon, right back to, you know, hopefully seeing him, if if you're a LEV fan, and I'm a LEV fan, hoping to see them bounce back out of this, because I think this is a series now that deserves 3. All right, let's just take it over to Ascent. Let's see how this cookie crumbles, man.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how things are going to come together for LEV, because, I mean, coming out and saying, yeah, they did exactly what we expected, but our teamwork wasn't there. It can be really tough to make sure that you're shoring up those gaps that you saw in the first map with just a brief little bit of time, 10 minutes between those maps to try to make those adjustments to get everybody back on the same page. On Sunset should be feeling a bit more comfortable, so maybe that will come more naturally here for the side of LEV. But also for LEV, I mean, look, Fung really absolutely, utterly destroyed.
Yeah.
And he's still going to be playing this Raze. This is where he can feast. If Trace have fixed the issues that we saw from them versus Vitality here on Sunset, if they continue to have a really solid read on this squad, and they know how Leviathan's going to play this map, they very well could get this win.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you need to turn up the tempo a little bit here as Leviathan. Get Aspas fired up. Make sure Mazzino's in sync with him, with that breach utility. That's a real key part of this composition on this map, is making sure that breach is really getting that deep util and connecting with it.
I'm seeing everyone on Leviathan on their bread and butter, right? The things that made them, prolific to begin with. Calm on that Sova, Mazzino on that breach, right? What got him the MVP at Americas, right? King back on the Omen. If Aspas can get activated, it will be quite difficult for them to shut down. But on the other side, man, I mean, if Fung and Hebei keep doing what they're doing, if Kai keeps showing up the way that he is, this is going to be wild. We could be seeing Leviathan getting 2-0'd in a #1 seeding game.
Yeah, it would be monstrous here, but Trace, the ball is in their court. They're holding this match in their hands.
All right, well, let's go ahead and send this back over to the casters, see if this one goes the distance. Mitch and Tom, take it away, fellas.
Well, America's #1 is going to need a third map to take this series, and they fight for it here on Sunset. A map that has looked good for them. Crew managed to beat them in the rematch, but for the most part, this is somewhere I think most people will expect them to beat Trace.
Yeah, for sure. I think even when we saw Trace play versus Vitality, I think it's going to be... It was a tough one. Vitality very good at this map as well, so it's not like the end of the world there. I think the other thing as well is, like it was spoken about in the interview, that they weren't surprised on the last map. Well, if they're surprised on this one, I'll be gobsmacked, because I believe that Trace have played this comp 15 times in a row. So even though it hasn't been the biggest success for them this year, they have stuck to their guns. They're comfortable with what they're playing, but it hasn't been massively successful.
Well, this dart's going around the world to try to break some setup on B, but there's nothing there. They know that from the double bounce. Leviathan sat in position on B, but the A site push has come through. Trap broken. Trace now know that there's some pressure behind them, and again, the clock is ticking to get into the site. And they've done just that. The plant secured, one man left behind with a camera. It's Liu King that has it all to do, and King about to walk straight into his angle, but hold on, one shot connected, still drawing breath. It buys enough time for the trade from Mazzino.
Yeah, they're looking for Aspas as well. They want to try and close out some of these flanks, but they're slowly starting to be picked apart. Aspas just almost acting as distraction now as the rest of the team look to fight back in. Even still, they managed to hold on for a moment, but Mazzino putting another in the death toll. He's traded out as well. Some utility being expended and that time ticking, and Com so desperately low. Hebei with a triple, and it's a pistol under the belts of Trace.
Another, I think that's 3 for 3 so far for Trace. Early injection of rounds. And that's going to go a long way on a map like this, one that they struggled against Vitality. And as we said, Leviathan, they may not be so good in a rematch, but this is first time around. And Ito said they weren't surprised. You said 15th time playing this composition. Won't be surprised here either, but that wasn't what he put the loss down to. Ito said that they weren't playing as a team. That's a tough thing to correct. See if they've got the stones for it, but it won't be in this round. Just pistols in play for the defensive side. B aggression. The hit is coming in on A.
Well, I think they come in as well on a much more comfortable note on this map in general. Like, okay, sure, they beat Talon, but on the last couple of times they'd played G2 regionally on Bind, it hadn't gone well. So I think that this is one where, excluding that crew defeat, they have proven that this is a solid map for them and a comfortable map as well. So I'm hoping that the issues he mentioned will be fixed in this round again. Like, you're playing into the post plant of Trace. They've got these SMGs up close, not needing to play at the same level of distance still. A little bit of damage being done, but expectations are that there won't be too much more.
Still one pistol to be upgraded. Any damage from here will actually be felt, will be shown in the economy. Aspis, well, he's on the slide to catch one. Style points, and now looking for a bit more. How many weapons can he drop? The round's already lost. The answer is just the one. The big guns saved through to the next. A 2-0 start for Trace Esports.
I'll be curious to see what's there to invest. Like, do they bring in another rifle? Do they maybe put an extra stinger or pistol in? Or are they just going to keep it relatively low? It doesn't seem like there's going to be a mass amount. There you go, just a stinger added in. Now, last time out, previous map, they were able to make these rounds very costly for LEV. I think that was one of the other issues that they had is, although they had a couple of flawless rounds at the very beginning of the game, other than that, every round seemed costly. And it meant that their economy quite regularly ended up on a lower note. For now, though, immediate pressure. A much faster paced look from the side of Trace.
Putting all their eggs in one basket on a straight push towards the A site. It's not too pacey for now, but there goes the utility that signals the start. The blast packs in and around elbow we go. It's not started out too well, though. Leviathan taking all the picks. Good flash, but it's dodged, and King's there to support. Mazzino steps up to the plate and leaves it into Kai, just with a pistol in hand. And only the one kill to be found. A much better response from Leviathan than what we saw on map 1.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea from Trace that you're going to try and test your opponent early when you have those weaker weapons, see how far you can get, but it looked comfortable. Like, the shots connected, counter utility, able to move out of positions and not get caught by an off angle, and also just having a solid read. The three players were ready for the pacing of that take. For Trace, now they buy back in with the rifles. But as said, early in the last map, LEV were able to get their first few rounds very clean, at least build up a bit of economy. We'll see if they can do that again here.
Oh, an early bit of aggression as well, but Aspa still caught by the stun. It was sent from further back, so there was no safe haven, and now the nade puts pressure on Tex to try to push out of this angle, and the drone was watching him as he attempted the escape. Looks like a late lurk on mid might catch some value, and a very early peek in from Market gets next to nothing. The one-to-one trade's not really worthwhile. Great response by Trace already, and it's not going anywhere.
Con was... Is he even going to get spotted? Yeah, there's not even any way out. Is he going to run into the triple assault? Yeah, why not? Let's just reveal him on the other side of the map. I think perfect denial. It does seem like in a lot of positions on this map, Trace just have a very good read. Like, they're willing to commit early utility if they believe there's going to be a push. And I actually think the counter stun that came out from Leviathan was pretty good as well. I think the Fong Fong on the other side was stunned. He just hit the shot while stunned. So again, the cosmetic didn't play out for him. But a really clean response. As said, having 4 players left alive and saving a weapon in the last round will mean that Leviathan will be able to get back in, at least maybe with a few light shields here and there. But for Trace, I've already said, like, this map, regionally and versus Vitality, has been a little rough for them. Getting off to a strong start here, using the momentum that they found from the last map. Capitalizing on it is going to be a big part for them.
Most definitely is. The question is, how far can they push this early lead? Leviathan, no slouches. They'll be buying right back up. Rifles in hand. Light shields for the most part. Rolling Thunder online for both sides. But a couple more ultimates very close to being online for Trace. They could find themselves an early safety net, and that was almost the showstopper. The wall got in the way, and the spray slightly off. If one kill goes his way, well then that's a completely different round we're looking at. Still fighting for the orb, a possibility. Leviathan won't be able to defend. Instead, they look for some mid control. I think they wanted to pincer 2 players out of the market. A flash or stun perhaps on mid if there were players there. Tracer taking that control much later in the round than expected. And they're rotating to A as well. You know, they stopped the B push. They saw nobody mid. They think it's A. There's 3 players from Leviathan stacked up there. Rolling Thunder for retake, of course, but that can be countered right back.
Oh, well, they know where Tex is, that's for sure. Stuck at the back of the site.
Spike planted.
Post plant. Will be in, and it's almost like a double lurk. You've got Kai. They're going to try and isolate Kai, but they don't know that there's actually a second player. In fact, they may not even know that the first player is here. This late push could be everything. The whole goal, look, they've got a Rolling Thunder and a Hunter's Fury. They can delay a ridiculous amount of time, but King is holding. I don't know if he spotted Low King, though. That second player, he's still watching in case somebody looks to wrap around from that corner. A good read from King, but he can't quite land the shot. Now they have to try and deal with it. Bianche's gone, and so is his ultimate, but that doesn't matter anymore. The time is ticking way too far. Trace have played this post plant fantastically well, and well, Aspas has no choice but to try and hold on.
Well, at least he will get that rifle through to the next, but this is a devastating start. A 4-1 lead. And the fact that they were so contained when you have Leviathan pushing in, just complete calm on the side of the attackers. Trace, keep the Rolling Thunder at first, use it.
That's what I like. I think they read into the fact that, okay, we have a Rolling Thunder, so chances are they're not going to play close because we have a Rolling Thunder. So let's just walk in a plant and hold it. It's a gamble, but it's a really smart gamble.
After Mazzino puts his through, you saw Heibei take out the ult and then realize, I don't need to. Let him have the space. Now, there was a read from Leviathan that there was a late lurk on mid, but that didn't really net them as much as you'd hope.
Okay.
The fadeaway King get killed, and, well, the A site's going to be taken over by the drone. There is a response attempted by Mazzino, already tagged up heavy, and that's one of the 2 rifles that they have to work with. He goes out anyways, and he goes down right after.
It's definitely going to make things tougher, but with the kill onto Kai, the flank is no longer covered. This gives some space. Now, it is being watched by Bianche, but if the remaining players, Com and Tex, can make a bit of a distraction, show a couple over on that short side, it might allow Aspas the space. I think that's the goal. Just try and give him a route into this one. The thing is, the post plant setup again is strong, and Bianche is watching. He hasn't switched his position, but he still loses the fight. Second man here, and with the bullet shot off, they now know it. Aspas no longer stunned, but Heibei catches the other 2, puts it into the 1v1. Aspas on 5 HP, and that time is ticking. If anything, I think it's ticking too far gone again. Aspas, he's looking to try and find him. He's even going to land that last shot, but it's too little too late. Has to fall out of the round. Trace will convert. It's incredibly costly. And it does mean that there's still going to be a bit of damage done to their economy, but they'll comfortably buy.
A timeout called by Leviathan. They're feeling the pressure, and it's Heibei applying it. That could have been a very different round if he doesn't catch that double.
He's just sat on the spike as well. Like, it's not the most uncommon spot. Like, you can understand why, like, a lot of people would check that. But you can kind of understand why they don't. Like, when they have the rifles, you expect them to be a little bit more passive, maybe playing behind that sort of default box on site. Not going to be the case. And yeah, Leviathan, whether you're a Trace fan, whether you're someone who watches all the watch parties or even the main broadcast for China, I think a 2-0 for Trace here was unfathomable.
Out of the question.
No shot.
Up against Leviathan, out of the question. You know, for me, Leviathan, G2, they've looked so strong. America's impressed me in opening games, regionally as well. They're playing a good game. But Trace have flown under the radar. Even after that first game, I expected to be close. And to be able to have a little bit of a battle here, but not to be able to decimate them. The first quarter already behind us, and it is firmly in favor of China's #3 team.
You talk about like their last match versus EDG, they got 7 rounds in 2 maps. So maybe that just shows that everybody should be a little bit more scared by EDG. They also were 2-0 up in a best-of-5 versus FPX, which they then lost. So they've had those sort of tough defeats. And let's be real, it's definitely not over yet. But just the manner in which a lot of these rounds have been going, I think even if you're the biggest Leviathan fan right now, you're probably quite nervous. As said though, I think both coaches, their tactical pauses haven't gone amiss. Like, they have been valuable, to say the least. We'll see if there's an immediate response from the side of Leviathan.
A lot of the time it is going to make you change your setup and your plan. Knowing they've just called that pause, obviously Leviathan are going to do something different. So Trace do much the same, focusing fully on the B site. They found space here for free before, and this time there's a showstopper to lead the way. Tex knew where he was, but couldn't quite get it done. They know Feng Feng's going to the back of the site, and the flash is good. Calm, trading it out, looking for more, finding it! 4 under his belt already. I don't know what Idapata said during that timeout, but it's got him fired up. Not much Hebei could do in a 1 versus 4. And all the roses to come in this round.
I think we've costed 1 million 4Ks at this point after yesterday's match, but that one has to be up there with the best of them. And that's the perfect response. Do I think that was part of the coach's game plan? Absolutely not. Do I think it's more likely to bring them back from the brink? Absolutely. Those are the sort of rounds that get everybody pumped up. And after a quiet start for a fair few of the players that have been fantastic throughout the season and throughout the tournament so far, that's one hell of a way to do it. And just look, actually, even though there's some backup credits, there still seems to be enough to purchase. Trace are not going for a full buy here. They're going to go with Stingers instead. I'm not sure if this is just wanting to have everything online, maybe even wanting to get themselves the ult, but I feel like they could have put a bit more into this round.
I think Lev thought that too. Early commitment of the Hunter's Fury after catching the tag, but no conversion.
He was so close to everyone.
All 3 pulses.
Just didn't hit a single pulse.
Oh yeah. Gave some of those players a haircut, but not quite enough. Reveal, flash. Nobody there to execute on the back of it unless the reveals go through, but those players are safely behind the box. Very slow round from Trace. I think they're trying to find the gaps in this defensive side, and it looks like they're assuming it's towards A. Smoke on right side, drone going through. This is looking like a B split from the side of Leviathan, but now they're about to find out it isn't. That paranoia's bought just enough time to retreat.
We've seen this for a couple of rounds now. King getting aggressive on A, taking that space away. This battle could be everything. Bianca waiting. Door actually going to be closed by the attack. That's got to be a bit of a confusing way for the round to be played out. Instead, they're going to go back to top mid, looking to try and surround the players on that A site. A lot of space already taken, but a double up will be in from the defense. Com joins them.
It's King, able to find that one, dancing around the box.
15 seconds.
12 seconds, they have to hurry up. And Com's here to support as well, watching the back. No element of surprise, but still the fights go their way. The plant will come in just in time. Fast as he is, Aspis won't be there in time to stop it. But both players tagged terribly low. 50 HP between them. Weak weapons, it's tough to get done, and Tex swings and he doesn't miss. 5-3. Leviathan are on the way back.
It still comes incredibly close. Like, considering that they'd invested into Stingers, a pistol, and a couple of rifles, and the way that those early fights went, like, it seemed like all the information was there. They had 3 players within the site already. I don't think we needed a slow-mo replay of that last one, but...
God, I'm Shroud.
oh dear. 5-3. A couple of rounds back-to-back.
This goes here.
The players from Leviathan starting to wake up, but yeah, that was a reduced investment in the last round from Trace. Rolling Thunder will now be online once again. An early control, even with a boombot in hand.
They're pushing them right back, but Leviathan are all too happy for that to be the case. The Rolling Thunder expected and denied with players now far back. They'll concede site control, but look to take it back with numbers quickly here. Any aggression will be punished, and a shock dart through from Com, taking out Bianca. Another shock dart does big damage. Beautiful stuff from the side of Leviathan. They haven't had to face them, and already these players are nice and squishy.
And the post plants have been where Trace thrive. Overdrive utilized, information garnered, paranoia even sent through to try and leave them in awkward positions. Oh, in fact, almost a kill directly through the smoke. Re-aggression attempting to do something, but they are being torn apart. It's left all on Takai. He knows where they are. The spam isn't going to do anywhere near as much as he's hoped for, and even though he catches the kill, they're already defusing. Just not enough time for him to get that done. An incredibly nice attempt from the Sentinel. He's made things costly, but it wasn't a round. That's gone to Lev.
Yeah, he should have fallen flat there and been deleted instead. At least able to put up a fight, carry the weapon through, but like you said, the timeline's all that really matters. 3 times in a row, Trace have gotten themselves a sight, more or less for free, although this time the shock dart certainly added an extra flair to it. 3 times in a row, we've seen Leviathan fight back and grab those diffuses. Economy, though, for the defensive side, is in a shaky enough position. Trace could still capitalize, but they're not too healthy either. This is going to be a swing round for the lead. Trace have their sights set on B.
Yeah, they definitely know that Aspas is there. There's no doubt about it. Drone is available. It makes me a little bit nervous just because of who's on the other side. Available to get aggressive, and it's actually Tex to land the first. The guy defending, the paranoia, the stun, in fact, everything has caught on to Aspas. He's still going forward, though! And he's just torn them a new one. It leaves Hebe to try and fight alone, but this round is for Aspas.
He uses his own stun to keep them in position. And then another comes in from a teammate. Door closed behind them, and, well, that's the door closed on the round. A timeout called now by Trace. Not happy with how this has gone, and they just got decimated by Aspas, so I'm not surprised.
He starts his move while still stunned up because he knows it's going to fade while he's swinging.
And he knows they're going to be stunned. He had full faith in Mazzino's breach stun.
That's fair enough.
Good reason.
Yeah, that's fair enough, honestly. I think if Mazzino was my teammate, he'd carry me. But also, I'd have faith.
I have no doubt in that, Tom. I have absolutely no doubt in what you just said.
Oh, yeah.
But
you reckon he can play in bronze? It's actually tougher down there, you know.
Oh, yeah. People do things you're not expecting, you know? Well, Trace.
No one DM me saying bronze commentator. Don't you dare. It's not true. It's a joke, please. I don't want those DMs.
It's at least silver.
At least. Minimum. I'm a peak gold.
Oh, man.
Oh, pause taken. 4 rounds in a row. The 3 before it had congestion. Retakes were necessary, but that was, I guess, much more of what we had expected to see. The Aspas show with support. For the other side of things, the economy is still a bit sketchy. Again, we've spoken about the fact that they're able to do quite a lot with very little, but I guess with loss bonus maximized and a few extra credits here and there, they can afford to go in for what we currently see in this round. Ultimates, not particularly close, but a kill or 2 in this round could mean that they have a lot on line for the next.
Scanning ahead.
Like you said, limited on the attacking side, but they've done some serious damage with less than this. Same old story with that shock dart, but Tex has been very aware of that in the early round. Moving his traps around. This time one for mid, broken, and Fong Fong right into the fight. And it's Calm to actually take that kill, certainly softened up by Aspas. 2 players you don't want to fight in current form, but Calm has been dropped. The rifle, the bulldog in play for Hebe. Aftershock on both sides, and it's Hebe forced to the open, taken down. Yankee's taking space in the meantime, but in goes Aspas, and he ain't taking any prisoners. 6-5. Leviathan, from a 5-1 deficit, have claimed back the lead.
It really feels like he's back. The last few rounds have just been Aspas styling, using those slides, using the fact that they're almost completely accurate, just to take fights that really should be impossible for the opponent to react. Just look at it from his POV. It don't even see a thing. Gone in a flash. Well, he can barely see anything from the fights he's taken, but there is no opportunity to respond. Lead taken by Leviathan. The pause that they called, clearly a turnaround point. I'm not sure what was said. Might just have been something as simple as remember who you are.
I mean, there really are. There's two kinds of Aspas. First time they played, grew in second, and you rarely get the second performance. He had a tough time there, was shut down in every duel he went for, but now right back on form. Rolling Thunder used to deny the planned aggression from Feng Feng, caught immediately. And Aspas back to his old tricks, sliding around, looking for the fights and finding them. Calm, again, assisting on those kills, taking them down in the end, and Hunter's Fury used to try to keep them in the choke point. King is here, and he's defending his throne. 7-5 now. From a 5-1 lead, Trace have got nothing, but the foundations are still set for the second half.
Yeah, I think they're going to appreciate the halftime break, because in all honesty, those last 6 rounds, like, they started with some sort of competition. Maybe there was rounds that could have gone the other way, but that was a slaughter. We'll be back after that break to see if they can do it on the defense.
Oh, come on. Trade in any phone in any condition, guaranteed, and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Stay alive, yeah, they may shoot, but we find. Say goodbye, our records play till we die. Bulletproof, yeah. Bulletproof, yeah. On the roof, yeah. We going up, yeah, we going up, baby. Bulletproof, yeah. Bulletproof, yeah. On the roof, yeah. We going up, yeah, we going up, baby. Say an oath to my mirror, I won't slow until I'm bigger. Broke till I'm thinner, so my flow will never simmer. Gazing at the stars, cause I'm born to make art, though they'll never know I'm far. My mentor, stating judgmental, shady, no mentor, only role models that I'm making, don't cuddle. I can take it, bulletproof, how I make it. My music never dies, stay alive. Stay alive, yeah, they may shoot, but we find. Oh, say goodbye, our records play till we die. Bulletproof.
Remember when he died. All right, time to get back into things. 7-5 when we left you off. Leviathan were in full swing, getting themselves round after round, 6 in a row. But the pistols have always fallen into Trace's hands so far. We'll see if they can keep that going. Here on the defensive side, there's a challenge, and that challenge is just to stop Aspas from killing you all.
Yeah, I think as well, now the game becomes about supporting him. We saw it in the first half as well. I think Feng Feng as well had those sort of moments where there were like paranoias and stuff put into place to set him up with stuns. The same will be said for Aspas leading the charge. Maybe see if they can get themselves their first pistol, but there's already a trap being set by the defensive side.
Oh! Well, that is quite the reaction.
Who was trapped?
Aspas doesn't seem to be slowing down, and right into the fight, but Hebei and Bianca, they've got the control. Trading it out, keeping the numbers now equal, and then that's when Law King steps it up. The paranoia doesn't land, but the shots do. The plant from Calm. All that remains of the hope of Leviathan taking a pistol here. You know, 1 versus 2, both players 70 HP, no shields to work with, but they're already on the spike.
They've already pinged exactly where he was going, or at least it seemed it. Now starting to realize that he could have gone back in the other direction. The spam just not on at this point. Already getting it to half. They're going to look to try and fight him together. And there was a world where he wins that. But his doppelganger, Bianca, is going to be the one to take that over the line. It is another pistol round for the side of Trace 1. But a plant and a lot of kills It could even be a temptation to force.
I wouldn't be surprised with Aspas on this form. Half the time he dies, he's shot in the back. You get to see his eyes. You ain't going anywhere. The big round from Law King, holding down that control on mid, swinging out, giving his life for the trade. And that was all they needed. The pistol, another early injection of rounds, and as we saw in the first half, that was very essential. Them being able to keep this close. Aspas off rip, no force buy. Pistols, a couple invested into.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it's going to be an easy round.
Yes, the few extra credits off the plant and kills just being expended into this one. A chance to do some extra damage. And you can see that Trace definitely had the same thought. They haven't gone for any pistols this time around. There was always seemingly one, but wanting to make sure that they can convert this round as cleanly as possible. So now any loss here will be costly. SMG or two, it's not the end of the world. You lose any of those rifles, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I want to see limited losses, although off rip.
Well, that's a rifle.
It's Leviathan with the opening pick, with a rifle to be recovered. Luckily, Aspas is nowhere nearby. That won't be given to him just yet, but they're grouping up. Going to approach this one as a blob, go back to meet King, who's tucked in inside of B main. If they take site control, this is a different round altogether. Trace have to be very careful not to give away too much here.
Okay, already getting the information. Smoke for top mid. Almost trying to bait their opponents. It seems to have worked. They're re-aggressing into middle. In fact, it seems like they've got completely the wrong read. Going back towards the A site, I'm not sure what the point of call was, what gave the game away, but whatever it is, it was completely wrong. This is going to be a post plant over on that B site, and now having themselves potential to maybe play main or, with those pistols, play aggro.
That's a problem. Yeah, from this point, trades, all that Leviathan need, and they've been spectacular in early fights, even without that rifle that now sits on Calm. Trace having to use up the stun to clear the first angle. Law King hoping to catch them off guard, and he might just do that. He's being flanked on though, and does he suspect it? Two quick kills, but shot in the back. I think he's got just enough done to give them a chance. 30 HP on Tex, trying to buy time, but the defuse is underway. Someone needs to go out and drop that diffuser, and there's no one to do it. The rifle still inside of main. It will not be carried forward. Mizzino looking to do as much damage as he can, and that is huge. At the start of this round, a couple of kills would have been a fantastic end. Instead, they've left it with one man alive coming into round 15.
Yeah, I almost wonder if Trace will even opt to play this one as a bonus anymore. Like, do you just fully invest and try and fight this as your buy round? The problem, though, is that economically, they're not going to be in a fantastic spot to even do that, even if they spent everything here. So huge round, and again, just a pretty big misread from them in terms of where Leviathan were going to be going. Now they come up with a fall buy. It's going to be SMGs, pistols. In fact, Hebe is only on a classic.
A lot of players pushed up. They're going to try to use the aggression to catch them off guard, make up for those weaker weapons, and it certainly worked to start with. Texas being spotted. He is completely surrounded. Players absolutely everywhere. There's no way out. He tries to fight his way out, and he's doing it. 3 big kills. This could have been a nail in the coffin for the round. Instead, an uphill battle remains for Trace. Kai, well, now detected. They've got all the information. The cage might buy him a moment to breathe, but his teammate's being dropped down to the classic. Aspas is dropped, but 20 HP left and a flank under. Get your gun out, Zeno. Flank underway, now got him. Stuns, got him. There's nowhere for Kai to go. It would have to be the headshots, and it's just not to be. 8 rounds for Leviathan.
Yeah, it almost feels like Tex was shooting off warning shots to begin with, because it went from not connecting a spray to hitting every single bullet in a second. Again, with what was on offer, I don't mind the idea in the round. Get aggressive, put the pressure on, and if it wasn't for some incredible isolation of battles and more so just the headshots,
let's go.
That easily could have slipped away. Leviathan are going to take the lead once again after their big streak in the previous half. But this is where the defensive side do come back in with a purchase. An immediate push, though. Aspas has almost caught Biancain. In fact, with the stun, he gets both players.
Follow-up is there from King to A site, completely overrun. Blink and you miss it. I see the credits are low, but that felt more like an eco.
Yeah.
He just dismantled that setup. And now, well, all that's left is to save. You can see Kai already repositioning his utility, be a little bit more defensive. But that's a big blow to the side of Trace. This was their round, and like you said, almost getting caught. Even as the barriers went up, Bianche doesn't expect Aspas to be that close. And that's a worrying sign, because he's going to do that a lot, and you've got to be ready for it.
There's either going to be immediate pressure onto elbow in a lot of rounds. We've seen that with many teams. I think the example that always springs to my mind is how Heretics play it with the pot flash. You do the same thing with Breach. So either you're expecting fast elbow control, or you have to be ready for that push towards short, and he was completely unaware. Then just, again, a solid stun, but the rest is Aspas. The rest is why we put this guy in the bracket of the best. Like, it is so difficult to play against, and then there's just even the swing from the rest of the team. He's done the hard bit, but they're there to clean up the rest. Again, we've seen this in the previous map. The pause is being called by Trace before the problems, well, I don't want to say the problems haven't arisen, but before it gets too dangerous. Like, you've only lost one round that I would say that you have to be a little bit more careful with. The last round, you came in with weak weapons, you lost the round. It's not the end of the world. This one, you had your first 4-buy on the site, and you get decimated within 15 seconds.
Barriers up, players down. Trace have one last chance to touch in with the coaching staff, and a 2-round gap, it's not gone too far. Like you say, before it gets out of hand, this is where they want to do it. But the fact that they invested so much last round means they don't have a lot of credits for this one. So even deciding how heavy the investment should be is going to be a challenge. At 9-7, one roadblock to Leviathan. They're in the home stretch. Credits sitting pretty as well. No matter what happens, they're going to be able to buy up in the next. And if they keep getting a run at it, well, the way Aspas has been running at it, this map might not last long.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I do want to see an ascent, so I'm kind of okay with that. But
what it is.
I'm waiting to see. Once again, I think at this point it would be foolish to doubt the team of Trace. I think that we were foolish the first series, maybe even a little foolish in the first map. But that has long gone already. A good reveal, even a good stun. But Mazzino is going to win that initial fight. Hex has been traded out, even with these lower weapons. There's danger. In fact, they're going to use that Rolling Thunder to try and push the defense back. This has become a deathmatch server, except one team has only more pistols. There's always one, right?
Yeah, and one team has Aspas.
Sure.
That's going to work for you most of the time, although Kai's managed to shut him down. 1 versus 3 now. Perhaps an opportunity with Mazzino low. Spotted up by the drone, swung on and sent package. Eventually has to break the drone. They'll reload to close it out. Okay. Check their positions on Leviathan. They're tucked in. They're letting him take the first move, and they'll shut him down right afterwards. Contact from Com, and then a triple or at least a double swing on whatever angle Kai decides. Say it's an uphill battle. I mean, when they play like this, it's an unwinnable one almost. Oh, if that shot had landed, perhaps.
The thing is, it's fine for Mazzino to do that. He's 5 HP. Like, if you don't hit the headshot, he gets to survive, and Com will close the round. Double digits. Leviathan getting closer and closer to a map 3. Maybe a place that the initial expectations weren't to be, but after the first, well, maybe even expectations back in the other direction. It was a 5-1 start that has now turned into a pretty healthy lead now. Again, the last time the defensive side had themselves a purchase, they got slaughtered. We'll see if they've been able to react.
Hopefully we won't see that same pace. Fung Fung over here, ready for the fight. But look who's going in, full pelt. It's Aspas. He's caught, well, he stunned himself. He stunned us many times with his individual ability. The paranoia kept him back for a moment. Now it's time to push right back into that site. In goes Anders Fury, and Aspas is shredding them, doing all the damage, making this ult look a lot stronger than it usually is. And he's got the firepower backing up every single duel. It's Kai left to do absolutely nothing. 3 kills for Aspas, and Trace's chances looking slim.
Yeah, they barely took any damage in that round. Normally we talk about this man's Jet. I think his Raze is a close second, and then, okay, he's a good Neon. He's a good Neon. Right now, he's been unstoppable. 21-9. The supportive utility as well. I love seeing him diving in alongside that Hunter's Fury. It means that anybody is slightly displaced, you need to be holding an angle ready to insta-headshot him, because he's sliding all over the place, moving at the speed of sound. And so the Hunter's Fury in combination makes it so hard to play against. Now that was a very good ult. I was about to say, we saw 3 players get pinged up immediately. I think there must have been either a combination flash or stun. I think it's definitely a stun.
Follow up onto Com. Weak weapons across the board. Okay, Mizzino's making a play. Trigger discipline on display. Got one, but that's it. Fong now activated. Tex tagged up by that nade, but he's not deterred. Still pushing forward. 2 players extremely low. One of them in this first crossfire. The firing squad takes it across the line. 8 for Trace. Their chances were slim, but that improves them a little bit.
Yeah, I guess the initial combo, like, did a huge gamble. Like, just throwing that in immediately. I think there may have been a ping initially. Yeah, so it's the dart that's used straight away. Fantastic to catch them all. And then just the push up, I think maybe even a stun. Yeah, that's a gorgeous setup. That was all based on just that dart catching someone. Maybe they even do it anyway, just off contact, but that is a huge round from the initiators of this defensive side. It's one that isn't recreatable, though. The only thing I will say, they still have a lot of ults, and this is an early fight. How does he still get one?
Well, the stun certainly helped out. Might have saved the day. Push up from Trace on the back of the Rolling Thunder. They've gone through middle, but the paranoia sent them packing. One player had been caught by the Rolling Thunder as well, so definitely chopping up this defensive side aggression. However, locking, finding one, puts the favor back on the defense. 3 players close, and the information there to play with. The attacking side executing's a different story. Seems like Trace have come back online at just the right time. 2 versus 4, and the info now in their hands.
Ooh, just getting out of there seemed like it would be difficult. They have managed it. All 4 players on this B side of the map, so they're able to move into this A site. They will be able to get themselves an afterplant. All the utility has pretty much been expended. An extra smoke is granted to King, but it's thrown down immediately. And you have to feel like this retake should be too difficult, but you never know.
I think they're deciding on whether to break that trap or just sit inside the smoke, and King's made the choice. No one's going to give him it, though. They're all going the other way. For a second, I thought Bianche would double back. They made the right call. Tex already spotted. They don't know about King, but now they do. All the info there, but the kill's going the other way. Spike still needs to be defused. Kai does well, and the trap catches King eventually. Uses the Shrouded Step to try to fake them out, but Kai's not falling for that one. The defuse close, but just about enough time. 0.91, under a second. But Trace's dream's still alive on map number 2.
I feel so bad for him that the trip that he doesn't break is what ends up being his undoing. That is so cursed. None of them come in that direction. And all in all, it's a good play. Like, you want to sit there and go, okay, if anybody comes through this, they're not going to expect me just to be sat on the edge. Again, a lot of counter util being expended. Ultimates utilized, and more importantly, yeah, just some big plays to end it all out. With under a second, a nice attempt from the side of Leviathan, but a 2-round streak. Operator now in as well for Fong. We'll see if that could be the difference maker, because without the ultimates, they really haven't had any success in their rounds.
Felt like a third map was inevitable, certainly owed in a series like this. But Trace don't want that. They're looking for their 2-0, still with a showstopper in play. Fong has that towards the A site. It's Leviathan setting up for the B site take. Stun goes through, catches no one. It's quite a deep play from the defensive side. There's no ultimates for the attackers. They're just conceding this space. Probably knowing that if Fong rotates, showstopper can breach right back through whatever post plant's in play.
Well, 2 spotted, an immediate stun. Aftershock isn't quite deep enough. will be counted immediately. The push onto the site will garner them a plant, and the showstopper's on the other side of the map. There's going to have to be a sprint from Fong Fong, and he's got to be aware as well that there is still a player lurking. In fact, a couple that could double up in a crossfire. Aspas is going to try again. This time he's caught, but so is Lord King as well.
The up rotate, checking the wrong angle as well. Tex able to grab one, and Kai is so desperately trying to pull this round back into their favor. King's gone down, and so's Mazzino. They know exactly where the last man is, but he gets the jump again. Out goes the cam, it's broken. He knows the defuse isn't underway, tries to stop it from getting to half. And while doing so, takes his 4th kill for a Red Bull clutch and map point.
He's definitely had his moments in this game as Tex, 18 and 16, but that might just be the best of them. A lurk of absurd impact, waiting so patiently to catch that first. You think a lot of the time when that door's closed that you would almost try and maybe push the spawn or reposition elsewhere. But he's confident in his team getting into the late game, and then confident in his own ability to take it over the line. A meaningful clutch that puts them on map point, the potential to take this to Ascent, a map that both teams are incredibly comfortable on, and a great place to end this series.
Especially in the last round, considering they closed the door and they were stuck in market with so much utility coming at them. That's when you just don't think there's a lurker anymore. Like, why would the guy be sat there staring at a closed door? But that's why. He wanted the round under his belt, and a phenomenal time to step up to the plate. 12-9, 3 in a row for an overtime for Trace. We're going all the way to Ascent. Map that, like we said, definitely deserved to see a 3rd map from this series. Leviathan fighting for it. Showstopper fires, not landing. Aspas, he took the damage, but at least managed to trade out, and King still fighting for the backside control. Bianche caught off guard. It's Kai and Law King to do it all. The step out from Kai with the paranoia, but they're just evading him, dancing around this pillar, forcing the fight. This time, it seemed to go Trace's way. That's when King and Kong close out the map, 13-9. We're going all the way to Ascent, and it's not over yet for the Leviathan fans.
Yeah, they might have been beaten down in that first map, needed a response after a slow start, but Leviathan are definitely back, and we'll see who's going to take it in the decider.
Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I see what he loves about you. You're so perfect. Hope you know that you got everything. I mess up and I'm haunted. And if I'm being honest, I see what he